She texted, "I just left you for him. I can't pretend anymore." I stared at my phone. At first my brain didn't even register the words. It was like when you read a sentence 3 times and it's just shapes, not meaning. My thumb hovered over the screen, smudging the glass a little, and in the reflection I could see my own face twisted into something I didn't recognize. My coffee had gone cold on the table beside me. The TV was still playing some dumb cooking show on mute, a cheerful host silently waving around a saucepan, while my entire life condensed into one grey iMessage bubble. The little delivered tag underneath it sat there calmly, like it wasn't announcing the end of my relationship. My first impulse was to laugh, which sounds insane, but it honestly felt like a prank. I waited for the JK bubble to pop up. For the follow-up, "Oh, wrong person, sorry, ignore that, or I'm being dramatic, can we talk?" Nothing, just that blank white space where her reply should be. My heart started hammering in my throat, too fast, too loud. I realized I'd stopped breathing and sucked in air so sharply it hurt. My fingers went numb. I tapped her name at the top of the screen with clumsy hands, hit call, and pressed the phone to my ear. 1 ring, 2, 3, then voicemail. Her voice, cheerful, recorded months ago, spilled into my ear. "Hey, it's Mia. Leave a message and I'll probably text you back instead." I hung up before the beep. It was a Thursday afternoon. I'd finished my shift early because our system went down and there was literally nothing else for me to do at work. I was still in my office shirt, collar unbuttoned, sitting at the tiny dining table in the 1-bedroom apartment Mia and I had shared for the last year and a half. We'd been together for almost 4. I had just texted her half an hour earlier asking if she wanted anything from the grocery store on my way home. She replied, "All good, I'll eat at Sarah's tonight, don't wait up." Sarah, as I now know, was not where she went. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm 30, male, and until about, well, however long it's been since that text came through, I thought I was in a committed long-term relationship with my girlfriend Mia, 28. We met the way a lot of people meet now, through friends and a badly organized housewarming. A mutual friend from uni, Mark, was celebrating, finally moving out of his parents' place into a share house that honestly looked like it might fall over in a strong breeze. I was in the kitchen trying to figure out if the punch was safe to drink when Mia appeared next to me, wrinkling her nose at the giant plastic bowl. "If that doesn't give you salmonella, the hangover will," she said. I looked at her dark hair in a messy bun, faded band t-shirt tucked into high-waisted jeans, eyeliner slightly smudged like she'd applied it in a moving car. "You say that like there's a third option where I don't drink it," I said. She snorted. "You like living dangerously, huh?" "Clearly," I said. "I came to Mark's party, did I?" She smiled, grabbed 2 mismatched cups and ladled out some punch. "If we die together," she declared, handing me a cup. "I'm Mia, by the way." By the end of the night, I knew that she worked in graphic design at a small marketing agency, loved horror movies but watched them through her fingers, and had a complicated relationship with her parents that involved Sunday lunches she dreaded but never skipped. She knew I worked in it at a logistics company, played rec soccer on Wednesdays, and had recently killed my last houseplant by overloving it. "You can't drown plants in affection," she said, tipsy, poking my arm. "They like a little neglect." I should have listened more carefully to that. We swapped numbers when I ordered an Uber. I didn't kiss her that first night. I wanted to, but something about the way she hugged me, quick, almost shy, made me play it safe. We started dating slowly. Coffee dates that turned into walks. Movie nights that turned into "Do you want to stay over?" The usual. She was funny and chaotic in a way that made my more structured brain feel lighter. She'd leave half-drunk cups of tea around my apartment, start 5 projects at once and finish 3, and somehow never be able to find her keys even when they were in her hand. I liked being the one who could remember where she'd left things, the one who made sure her phone was charged, and she'd eaten before diving into a 10-hour design sprint. "You're good for me," she told me once, curling against my side on my old couch. "You make me feel steady." I took that as a compliment. The first time things got serious was when her agency lost a big client, and she was terrified of being laid off. She came over with swollen eyes and a crumpled tissue, climbed onto my bed with her shoes still on, and burrowed under my arm like she'd been doing it forever. "I don't want to move back home," she mumbled into my chest. "I can't go back to my old room and my mum making comments about my little drawings." "You're not going to," I said, stroking her hair. "Worst case, you stay here for a bit, we'll figure it out." She tilted her head up, eyes red. "You mean that?" "Yeah," I said, heart thudding weirdly. "I like having you here, even when you steal all the blankets." She smiled for the first time that night and kissed me. "You're annoyingly good," she said, "like in a way that makes me suspicious." "Suspicious how?" "Like you're secretly a serial killer or something," she said. That's the only explanation. I joked about printing that on a t-shirt. Not a serial killer, probably, but that night was a turning point. A few months later, when her lease was up and my roommate moved in with his girlfriend, it felt natural for Mia to move in with me. Living together was messy and great, and sometimes baffling. We fought over stupid crap like whose turn it was to clean the shower, and whether or not you should rinse dishes before putting them in the dishwasher. You should, by the way, and I will die on that hill. We also shared little rituals: Sunday morning pancakes, Wednesday night trash TV, an ongoing scoreboard of who could guess plot twists in movies first. There were cracks, sure. Mia could be distant sometimes. When she got absorbed in work, she'd disappear into her laptop, barely looking up for hours. I have a bad habit of shutting down when I'm upset instead of talking about it. But we tried, you know. We apologized when we snapped. We made up. We said I love you every day, sometimes in texts, sometimes in stupid ways like scribbling it in steam on the bathroom mirror. If you told me a year ago that she'd end things via text, I would have laughed in your face. Mia hated texts for serious conversations. She thought they were cowardly. I had a friend who broke up with her boyfriend over WhatsApp, she said once after we'd watched some rom-com. Like, full on 4 years together, and she sent, "This isn't working, sorry Roman 20, can you imagine?" No, I said honestly, I'd throw my phone into the sea. Right, she said, if I ever break up with someone I'm doing it face to face, anything else is trash. So yeah, I'm still not sure exactly when him entered the picture. I know the rough outline now because I asked, and because I did something I'm not proud of and went through her messages after the fact. But from my perspective, it started as little shifts. The first big one was when she joined this new gym. "I'm tired of being hunched over my laptop like a gremlin," she announced one night, stretching her arms above her head, back cracking. "Sarah's been going to this place that does classes. I'm thinking of trying it." Nice, I said. I should probably stop pretending that walking up the office stairs counts as cardio. "You could come with," she suggested, eyebrow raised. "Couple who sweats together, etc." "I appreciate the invite, but my coordination peaked in year 10 PA, I said. "I'd just embarrass you." She rolled her eyes. "You couldn't embarrass me if you tried," she said. "But fine, I'll become hot without you." She said it jokingly. At least, it sounded like a joke at the time. The gym became this new pillar of her life. At first it was just a couple of evening classes a week. Then it was early mornings too. She'd come home buzzing from killer circuits, and this new instructor who actually knows what they're talking about. She started buying different food, tracking her macros, watching fitness YouTubers while I scrolled through Reddit beside her. The first time she mentioned him, I didn't even notice. We were eating dinner, salmon, quinoa, roasted veg, the whole Pinterest spread. She was talking about this bootcamp-style class. "Liam nearly killed us today," she said between bites. "We did like 1,000 burpees. My soul left my body halfway through." "Who's Liam?" I asked, more focused on not overcooking the fish in my mouth. "New instructor," she said. "He's intense, but in a good way. Like he actually pays attention to form instead of just shouting, 'Go harder,' from the front." "Sounds helpful," I said, and that was that. Over the next few months, Liam became a regular character in Mia's stories. "Liam says sitting all day is the new smoking, so enjoy your early grave," she joked, poking my stomach. Liam gave me this adjustment today, and I thought my spine was going to spontaneously combust. "Liam thinks I should try the strength program. He says I have potential." I pictured some generic, overly enthusiastic trainer with a man bun and too much protein powder. It didn't occur to me that this man would rearrange my life. Things at home started to shift, nothing drastic at first. Just more nights where she wasn't around. "Group drinks after class," she'd text. "Be back by 10. Late session, don't wait up." "Liam's running this free workshop on Saturday," I signed up. I tried to be supportive. I'd been with partners before who resented me having interests outside the relationship, and I didn't want to be that guy. When she came home flushed and happy, babbling about beating her deadlift PR, I'd listen, nod, celebrate. "You should have seen me," she said once, practically glowing. I didn't think I could do it, but Liam just looked at me and was like, "You're underestimating yourself." And I did it. It felt incredible. "That's awesome," I said, meaning it. "He says most people settle at 70% of what they could be because they're scared," she continued. "Like, not just in the gym, in life." "Sounds like a motivational poster," I joked. She smiled but didn't laugh as much as she usually would. "Maybe," she said. "Or maybe he's right." I didn't know it then, but I think that's when she started looking at our life and wondering if it was 70%. Around the same time, things between us got stuck. I'd had a rough couple of months at work, new management, extra responsibilities without extra pay, a big project that kept getting pushed back. I was stressed and tired a lot. Mia was in her gym glow-up era, plus dealing with her own work drama. Her agency had merged, and suddenly she was dealing with new clients, new boss, new expectations. We stopped talking deeply as often. Conversations became logistics. Did you pay the electricity bill? My mum wants us to come over on Sunday. I'm working late Wednesday. We still said I love you, but more like punctuation than sentences. Little kisses in passing, half asleep, love you as we turned off the light. I told myself it was just a phase. Long-term relationships go through quiet seasons. I didn't see it as a warning sign. The night everything started properly cracking, we had one of those fights where you're arguing about something small, but it clearly isn't about that. It was about the laundry, officially. Mia had left a load in the washer overnight and it smelled weird, so I'd re-washed it and mentioned, too sharply I'll admit, that this kept happening. She snapped. You're always criticizing, she said, slamming the basket down. It's never just, hey, thanks for doing laundry, it's always you did it wrong. That's not fair, I said. I literally thanked you yesterday for cooking. Yeah, and then you pointed out I used too much salt, she shot back. It's like nothing I do is good enough. I felt my own temper flare. Are we still talking about laundry? We're talking about everything, she said, eyes bright with anger. About how I come home excited about something and you make a joke, or you're half scrolling your phone, or you just don't get it. What don't I get? I asked, strung. Me, she said, you don't get me. The room went very quiet. That's not true, I said after a beat. Isn't it? She asked, voice softer now. When was the last time you asked me how I was really doing, not just how was your day, but actually listened? Guilt flared in my chest because she wasn't entirely wrong. You haven't exactly been around to talk to, I said defensively. You're always at the gym or going out after, or telling me some story about how Liam says this and Liam thinks that. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? It means I feel like I've been benched in my own relationship, I said, the words spilling out now. Like I'm this background character in the Mia discovers her best self montage. That's such bullshit, she said. You've been so wrapped up in your own stress, you haven't noticed me trying to pull you along with me. When's the last time you came to one of my events or asked to see the new designs I'm working on? When's the last time you came to one of my soccer games? I shot back. We traded a few more barbs like that, both saying things that had been simmering under the surface for months. Eventually, she stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. I slept on the couch that night, staring at the ceiling, cycling between anger, hurt, and this heavy dread I couldn't shake. In the morning, we both apologized in that kind of half-hearted, I'm sorry we upset each other, way that doesn't actually fix anything. The deeper stuff was still there, unaddressed, but life kept moving. We still had to go to work. The dishes still needed washing. We kissed each other goodbye at the door, and for a while we carried on pretending things were okay-ish. In hindsight, I think that fight made it easier for her to justify what she did next. A couple of weeks later, she started staying out even later. Post-gym drinks turned into karaoke. Sorry, Liam's birthday, we're all going out after class. We're doing a sunrise hike tomorrow, so I'm crashing at Sarah's, easier than commuting from here. I knew Sarah, or I thought I did. We had brunch with her and her boyfriend a few times. She was loud and sweet and always trying to set people up. It made sense that Mia would stay there sometimes if they were doing early gym stuff. I tried not to be the jealous, controlling boyfriend. But there was this gnawing unease. The way Mia's eyes flicked away when I asked follow-up questions. The way she started tilting her phone screen away when she texted. The way she laughed at something on her phone and then went quiet when I asked, what's funny? I didn't want to snoop. I've always been big on privacy, on trust. My parents imploded partly because of spying and half-truths and suspicion. I didn't want that dynamic, so I told myself I was being insecure, that this was my baggage, not hers. The night it all actually fell apart, I wasn't doing anything interesting. No dramatic catching them in the act story. I was sitting at our wobbly dining table, one sock half off my foot, an email draft open on my laptop where I was trying to sound enthusiastic about yet another pointless training module at work. The apartment was quiet except for the low murmur of the TV in the background. It was just after 4 p.m. Mia had texted earlier, heading to Sarah's after work, we might do a late class. Don't wait up, I'd replied with a thumbs up and a have fun. I remember glancing at our framed photo on the wall, us at the coast last summer, hair whipped by wind, her squinting into the sun, me with sunscreen half rubbed in, and feeling this little swell of affection. I thought, we're in a weird patch, but we'll get through it. We always do. Then my phone buzzed. I glanced down expecting some work notification or maybe a meme from Daniel. Instead I saw her name, Mia, and the preview, "I just left you for him, I can't pretend anymore." For a second I actually thought it was some weird inspirational quote she was sending me out of context, like a screenshot of something. Then I clicked it. No screenshot, just her text. "I just left you for him, I can't pretend anymore." And that was it. No explanation, no build-up, no "we need to talk." Just a flat declaration in sentence case, because apparently my brain notices typography even while imploding. I called voicemail. I texted back, "What are you talking about?" The delivered tag popped up, "No typing, bubble." I tried again. "Mia, what does that mean? Where are you?" "Nothing." My hands started to shake. I stood up too fast and my chair scraped loudly against the floor, making me flinch. The apartment suddenly felt like a stage set. The throw blanket on the couch, the plant on the windowsill, the mug on the table with a lipstick stain that wasn't mine, they all looked too bright, too deliberate. Props in a scene I hadn't realized we were acting in. I grabbed my keys and wallet with no real plan beyond find her. As I yanked open the bedroom door, my stomach dropped. Half her side of the wardrobe was empty. At first I thought, I don't know what I thought, that she'd done laundry, that she was reorganizing, but the hangers were bare where her favorite dresses had been. The shelf where she kept her gym clothes was oddly neat, like someone had taken time to fold things before putting them in a bag. I opened the top drawer. Her jewelry box was gone. The little dish she kept her rings in was there, empty. That's when it hit me. She hadn't sent that text from her desk at work in a fit of impulsive honesty. She'd come home, packed, left, then told me. I sank down onto the edge of the bed, legs suddenly mush. My phone buzzed again in my hand and I nearly dropped it. A new text from her. "Please don't call me, I can't do this if you call." My fingers flew over the keyboard. "Do what? You don't get to blow up my life over text and then say, 'Don't call.'" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "I'm sorry, I know this is awful, I'm at his place. I've been unhappy for a long time and I kept pretending and I can't anymore." I stared at that word, his, not a name, just a pronoun like he'd been downgraded to a concept. Who is him, Liam? The reply came quicker this time. "Yes." My vision went blurry. I wiped my eyes and my hand came away wet. I hadn't even realized I was crying. "How long?" I watched the dots dance in that infuriating way that makes seconds feel like hours. "Since a few months after I started at the gym, but I only crossed the line recently, I swear." I laughed out loud, this sharp, ugly sound. Crossing the line is not the only issue here. Another pause. "I know, I didn't want to hurt you." I stared at that for a long time. I could practically hear my therapist's future voice asking, "And how does that make you feel?" "You're literally doing the most hurtful thing possible," I typed slowly, over text. She didn't respond right away. I stood up, paced the room, sat back down. My body couldn't decide what to do with itself. After a few minutes, "I couldn't face you. I knew if I saw you I'd back out and keep pretending, and that's worse." I almost threw my phone at the wall. Instead, I clenched it until my knuckles hurt. Worse for WHO. No answer. I don't know how long I sat there waiting. 10 minutes, 30, time blurred. Eventually my rage collapsed into this exhausted, hollow feeling. I typed one more message. "Are you coming back for the rest of your stuff, or should I pack it?" The reply was almost immediate, like she'd been waiting for logistics instead of emotion. "I'll come when you're not there, or you can leave it with Sarah. I'll pay my half of next month's rent and bills. I'm so sorry, Alex." I stared at my name on the screen. She almost never texted my name. The formality of it made my skin crawl. I didn't reply. The next few hours were a fog. I remember calling Daniel, my best friend, and not being able to get the words out at first. "Mate, you okay?" he asked. "You sound weird." "Mia left," I managed. My voice sounded separate from me. "She's with someone else." Silence, then a low "shit." He came over within half an hour, still in his work clothes. He brought beer and those mini lamingtons from the bakery down the street, like sugar and alcohol could possibly patch this. He didn't try to feed me cliches. He just sat on the floor with his back against the couch while I told him everything in disjointed fragments. She texted she'd already packed. It's the gym guy. Apparently she's been unhappy for ages. I didn't notice. Does that make me an idiot? Maybe I was just boring. You're not boring, he said automatically. I fix printers for a living, man, I said, half laughing, half sobbing. She left me for a guy who screams about burpees. Tell me that's not a personality contest I was always going to lose. He looked at me for a long moment. This isn't about who's more exciting, he said quietly. It's about her making a choice without giving you a chance to actually work on things. That's on her. I wanted to believe that, but the narrative in my head was already spinning up. You didn't pay enough attention, you got too comfortable, you didn't grow with her, you settled into routine while she wanted more. That night I didn't sleep. I lay in the middle of the bed like some neutral party in a territory dispute, staring at the ceiling while my thoughts chewed themselves into knots. At 3 a.m. I got up and started opening drawers, cupboards, closets, taking inventory of the absence. Her favorite mug, gone, the one with the tiny crack she refused to throw out, still there, the framed photo from the coast, still on the wall, weird. Her ratty high school hoodie she wore when she had cramps, gone. The tiny ceramic fox her grandma gave her that she kept by the TV, gone. The toothbrush she always forgot to replace, gone. She hadn't taken everything, just enough, just the essentials plus a few sentimental things. It made it feel less like a clean break and more like someone had quietly been shifting belongings a little at a time, preparing for an exit. The next day, after calling in sick with a generic stomach bug, I did the thing I'd been trying not to do. I went through her iPad. It was still on the couch under cushion, same passcode as her phone. I told myself I was looking for answers, for context. What I found was a slow-motion car crash, messages with Sarah going back months. Mia, I think I like him, more than I should. Sarah, oh, gym crush. Mia, don't say it like that, it sounds childish. It's more, I feel like he sees me. Sarah, Alex does. Mia, not the parts I've become, he still sees old me, and I love him for that, but also Ike, scroll. Mia, he asked if I was happy in my relationship, and I froze. Sarah, what did you say? Mia, I lied. Scroll. Mia, we almost kissed in the stairwell today. I pulled back, felt sick. Sarah, girl. Mia, I know, I'm the worst person. Later. Mia, I kissed him. Sarah. Sarah, okay, deep breath, what do you want? Mia, both, neither, I don't know. I want the way I feel with him and the safety I have with Alex, and that's not fair to anyone. And then, about a week before the breakup text. Mia, I think I have to leave him. It's not just about Liam anymore, I can't keep performing. Sarah, have you talked to Alex, like actually talked? Mia, every time I try, I chicken out. He looks at me like I'm still his whole future, and I feel like the biggest liar. Sarah, then tell him before you do anything else with Jim Boy. Mia, I already crossed that line. We slept together, I can't undo it. My stomach lurched reading that. It wasn't like I didn't know by then, but seeing it in writing made it more solid, like wet concrete setting. The last messages from the day before the text. Mia, I'm going to tell him soon. Sarah, in person, right? Mia, I hope. I don't trust myself not to back down. Apparently, she didn't. I closed the iPad, feeling like I'd just inhaled a lungful of smoke. There was a tiny, petty comfort in seeing that she did feel guilty, that she wasn't just casually bouncing from one guy to another, but that didn't change what she'd done, or how she'd done it. After a couple of days of shell shock, I texted her. I deserve an actual conversation, in person. 1 hour, you owe me that much, she replied a few hours later. You're right, I'm sorry, tomorrow, coffee shop on Kingsent at 3. I almost said no to the public place. It felt like she was choosing somewhere safe, where I couldn't yell or cry too loudly. Then I realized I didn't really want to yell. I wanted to see her face when she tried to explain turning our life into a group project she'd quietly dropped. So I went. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with a cup of something untouched in front of her. She looked smaller, not physically but like someone had turned down her brightness. No makeup, dark circles under her eyes, her hair pulled back in a low ponytail. She was wearing that same ratty high school hoodie she'd taken, comfort armor. Hey, she said, standing halfway, then sitting again like she wasn't sure if hugging me was allowed. Hey, I said, sliding into the seat opposite. My heart hammered against my ribs. For a moment we just stared at each other, both taking in the new reality. No casual kiss hello, no how was your day, like we jumped to the last chapter without reading the middle. Thank you for meeting, she said, voice small. You didn't really give me a choice, I said. My voice sounded flat, even to me. You detonated a grenade in my phone. She flinched. I know, she said. I know it was the worst way, I panicked. You had months to not panic, I said. She wrapped her hands around the mug in front of her like it was cold. I've rehearsed this conversation 100 times, she said. None of the versions hurt less, so I kept putting it off and then I kept doing more damage. I thought ripping the bandage off would be kinder than stabbing you slowly. Well, congratulations, I said. It definitely feels ripped. A tiny humorless smile flickered across her mouth and died. I'm sorry, she said for the millionth time. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am. I looked at her, really looked. The girl from Mark's party was still in there somewhere, the quick wit, the nervous laugh, the way she picked at the sleeve of her hoodie when she was anxious. But there was this new hardness too, not cruelty exactly, just resolve. When did you decide, I asked, to leave? She looked down at her hands. I think I decided in small ways first, she said slowly. Every time I didn't tell you how unhappy I was, every time I let myself get pulled further into whatever this thing with Liam is, the actual decision, a couple of days before I texted you, I'd stayed over at his after class. She swallowed. I woke up and realized I'd crossed a line I couldn't convince myself was a one-time mistake. And I imagined going home, making dinner with you, sitting on the couch like nothing happened. I felt like my skin was going to peel off. So instead of coming home and telling me, I said, you came home, secretly packed half your stuff, and then told me once you were already at his place. I know how that sounds, she said. It sounds cowardly, I said. It sounds like you wanted all the benefits of honesty without having to see what it does to someone. Her eyes filled with tears. You're not wrong, she said hoarsely. I've always been a coward when it comes to hurting people. I thought if I could just get through this part quickly, it would be better for both of us. It wasn't, I said. I can see that, she whispered. We were silent for a minute. The hiss of the coffee machine, the murmur of other people's conversations, the clink of cups, it all felt surreal, like background noise in a movie. Why him? I asked eventually. And don't give me the he just gets me line. I've earned a better answer than an Instagram quote. She winced again but nodded. Okay, she said. Okay, she took a deep breath. At first it was just attention. He noticed things, how hard I worked when I'd push myself in class. He'd say stuff like, you underestimate yourself, and it felt good. I liked how I felt around him, strong, seen. Then we started talking after class, about work, about family. He told me about his divorce, about how his ex made him feel like he was never enough unless he was hustling. I told him about us. She glanced up at me. I probably painted a version of you that wasn't completely fair. What version? I asked. That you were comfortable, she said. Safe, sweet, but kind of stuck. That I felt like I was outgrowing the life we'd built and you didn't see it. That I was scared of becoming one of those couples who sleepwalk through their 30s and wake up at 40 wondering where the time went. That's not exactly a crime, I said, wanting stability. I know, she said quickly. I'm not saying you were wrong for wanting that. I just felt like I'd changed and you hadn't noticed, or didn't want to. And then here was this person who kept saying things like, you could do more, you know, you're holding back. It hit all my insecure, ambitious buttons. So you swapped out the guy who made sure you ate and charged your phone, I said, for the guy who tells you you're at 70%. That's not fair, she said, strung. It's not that simple. It rarely is, I agreed. But from where I'm sitting, it kind of looks like you traded in steady love for a midlife crisis you're starting 10 years early. She let out a choked laugh, wiping at her eyes. You're still annoyingly good at one-liners, she said, even now. Cool, I said, I'll put that on my resume. We sat there, both of us nursing drinks we weren't really drinking. Did you ever plan to tell me before you slept with him? I asked. I wanted to stop asking questions, but they kept coming. She swallowed. I told myself I would, she said. And every time I got close, I didn't. I'd see you cooking or folding laundry or just existing in that space we made together, and I'd feel this wave of guilt so strong I thought I'd throw up. So I'd shove it down and tell myself I could manage both until I figured things out. Which was a lie to you and to myself. So I was like emotional layover, I said, until your connecting flight was ready. That's a horrible metaphor, she said quietly, but yeah, kind of. I appreciated the honesty, even as it gutted me. I wish I'd been braver, she said. I wish I'd told you months ago when it was still just feelings, before I made it into something irreversible. Yeah, I said, me too. None of this is because you're not enough, she added quickly, rushing the words like she was afraid I'd cut her off. I know you'll think that, but it's not. You've been good to me, solid, kind. You held so much for me without ever asking for anything. I took advantage of that. I took you for granted. That's on me. It's hard not to take it personally when the person who knows me best decides someone else is a better fit, I said. That's the thing, she said, looking up, eyes wet. You know me best up until a point, up until where I stopped letting you in, and that's my fault too. I was afraid if I showed you how restless I felt, you'd either dismiss it or panic. I didn't want to be ungrateful Mia, who ruins a perfectly good relationship because she's chasing some nebulous feeling, so I went somewhere else with it. Somewhere with better abs, I said bitterly. She actually laughed, a short, painful sound. You know I don't care about that, she said. Don't you? I asked. Because it kind of seems like you care a lot about the image of the person you're with now, the exciting trainer, the guy who gets you, the one who tells you. You're destined for more, instead of the guy who, I don't know, buys the right oat milk and reminds you to call your grandma. Can it be both? She asked, a little desperately. Can't someone be both exciting and stable? Sure, I said, but you decided I couldn't be that person without ever actually testing the theory with me. She opened her mouth, then closed it. You're right, she said. I didn't give you a real chance. I made up this story in my head where you'd never understand, and then I acted like it was fact. I leaned back, feeling tired, bone-deep tired. So what now? I asked, practically. She took a shaky breath. I'll transfer my half of the rent and bills for next month, she said. I don't want you to be out of pocket. I've already asked my boss about extra hours. Liam has a spare room I can use until I find my own place. The way she stumbled over that use made my stomach twist. I don't need details, I said quickly. Right, she said. Sorry. I'll organize a time with Sarah to pick up the rest of my stuff when you're not home, if that's okay. I think us trying to pack up together would just be cruel. Yeah, I said. I don't think I could handle watching you choose which parts of our life you want to take to your next one. We both went quiet again. Eventually, I stood up. My legs felt like they belonged to someone else. Thank you for meeting, I said again, because my social conditioning apparently survives even heartbreak. Alex, she said, standing too. I looked at her, she looked at me. For a second I could see the old us, inside jokes, burnt pancakes, long drives singing off key. I almost reached out, almost. Don't, I said, stepping back. If you hug me, I might forgive you for something you haven't even apologized to yourself for yet. Her face crumpled. I am sorry, she whispered. I know I keep saying it, but I am. Be sorry to the version of me you stayed with out of obligation, I said. And to yourself for not being honest sooner. I'll figure out how to be okay on my own. I left before she could answer. That was about 3 weeks ago. It still hurts, a lot. I wish I could say I've had some big epiphany and risen above it all, but the truth is I'm still oscillating between anger, grief, and this weird numbness where I stare at the wall for 10 minutes and then realize I'm late for work. I've done some practical stuff. Changed the locks, got her name off the lease. She cooperated, I'll give her that. Boxed up the rest of her things and left them with Sarah, who gave me this look full of pity and guilt that made me want to disappear into the floor. Sarah texted me later. For what it's worth, I tried to get her to be honest earlier. You didn't deserve this. I stared at that and felt weirdly angry at her too, even though she wasn't the one who chose this. It reminded me that multiple people knew my relationship was sinking before I did, before I even suspected the boat had a leak. I told my parents a sanitized version. Mia and I broke up, she met someone else. My mum did the whole she'll realize what she lost thing. My dad, who once left my mum for someone more exciting, and then came crawling back a year later, just said quietly, I'm sorry, son, in a way that made me both hate and appreciate him. I went back to work, people asked polite questions. How Mia? You guys doing anything fun for the holidays? I learned how to say, actually we split up, without my voice cracking. Some people did the awkward, oh god I'm so sorry scramble. A few, mostly the divorced ones, just nodded knowingly. I started seeing a therapist after Daniel bullied me into it. You don't have to fix this alone, he said, or drink it away, you're not dad. The therapist, a woman named Qley with kind eyes and a scary memory for details, asked me things like, when did you first learn that being steady might not be enough? and what parts of yourself did you stop bringing into the relationship? Big questions, I'm still working on the answers. Some days I feel this flicker of something like freedom. I'll cook dinner exactly how I want without worrying if Mia will complain it's too beige. I'll watch some stupid sci-fi movie she would have hated. I'll walk past the gym she used to drag me past and feel absolutely no desire to. Go inside, I'll think I could move to another city if I wanted. I could dye my hair purple. I could take a ceramics class. My life is mine again, in a way it hasn't been for a while. Other days, I wake up and reach for her out of habit, hit empty sheets, and feel that sharp stab of loss all over again. I'll hear a song she loved in the supermarket and have to leave my basket and walk outside until my throat unclenches. I'll find one of her hairs woven into a jumper and sit on the edge of my bed for 10 minutes, unable to decide whether to pull it out or leave it there. I still sometimes stalk her social media, even though I know I shouldn't. I haven't seen any couple photos yet, just more gym selfies, more chasing growth captions. I imagine Liam just out of frame, taking the pictures. I imagine them laughing about how she used to be with this nice guy who didn't really get it. There's a part of me that wants them to fail spectacularly, to crash and burn so hard she has to confront the wreckage of what she left. There's another part that knows even if that happens, it won't undo what she did to us, or what I let slide because I was too afraid of rocking the boat. People keep telling me I dodged a bullet, that anyone who can cheat and leave via text would have hurt me eventually anyway. They're probably right, but it doesn't feel like dodging a bullet. It feels like taking it straight to the chest and then being told, hey, at least you know what your pain tolerance is now. I don't have a neat bow to tie this up with. No, and then I met someone amazing on Hinge 3 weeks later. And now Mia and I are mature co-parents to a dog we share custody of. It's just this. A guy in a slightly too quiet apartment, making his own coffee, paying his own bills, going to therapy, and trying not to let one person's choices calcify into a belief that he'll always be the one left for someone more exciting. If there's anything I've learned so far, it's this. Love isn't a guarantee against being abandoned. You can show up, be kind, pay attention, or think you are, and still have someone decide they want a different story. That's not an indictment of your whole personality, even if it feels like it in the moment. It's a reflection of their capacity for honesty, their tolerance for discomfort, their willingness to have the hard conversations before they light the match. I don't think Mia is a monster. I also don't think what she did was some grand, brave act of living her truth. It was messy, selfish, scared, human in the worst way. I'm human too. I missed signs. I clung to it's just a phase when I should have said, something's wrong, we need to really talk. I made jokes when I should have asked questions. I assumed that being good and steady would be enough to keep someone. It won't, not if they're already halfway out the door in their head. The text she sent me has been stuck in my mind like a bad song on repeat. I just left you for him. I can't pretend anymore. For a while, all I could hear was that first part. I just left you for him, like I'd been swapped out in some warped upgrade. Lately, my brain has been lingering on the second part. I can't pretend anymore. Pretend what? That we were okay, that she still wanted this, that I was the version of myself she met at Mark's party, frozen in time. I don't want to pretend anymore either. Not that I'm over it, not that it didn't wreck me, not that I don't still replay that afternoon sometimes, wishing she'd walked through the door instead of sending that message. But also not that this defines me forever, not that I'm doomed to be the guy who got left via text. Right now, healing looks like small, unglamorous things, doing the dishes before they pile up, answering texts from friends instead of isolating, letting myself cry without judging it, writing this post even to strangers on the internet, because sometimes anonymity is easier than watching someone you love flinch when you say, she left. Maybe one day I'll look back and be grateful, the way people say you eventually are for the pains that forced you to grow. I'm not there yet, that's okay. For now, I'm just a guy who stared at his phone while his relationship ended in a single sentence, and is slowly, clumsily, imperfectly, learning that there's life on the other side of that screen.